Hello lovely people, my name is Pancherzz, welcome to my channel. If you are new here then welcome, and if you've been here for a bit then I am back. Again, that first time went well, didn't it? No excuses, just purely didn't have time, but here I am, straight after the World War II beta, getting back into making YouTube videos again. But anyway, that isn't the point of today's video. Out of nowhere, for my first video back in ages, I'll be talking about the World War II beta. I did have a bit of a chance to play it, both on mine and a friend's account, so you'll see some gameplay under a different gamer tag, but it's me playing in all the gameplay anyway. I'm on Xbox, so I was only able to play the beta for the one weekend rather than the two that PlayStation players got, but through the limited time we had, I did gather my own opinions, and this is what I'm going to share with you guys today. This is also taking into account recent changes that Sledgehammer have said they're going to be making for the full game, based on beta feedback from players. Like most opinion videos, I'm going to be talking about some good and some bad things that I thought about the beta. Just bear in mind that these are my opinions and should not be taken seriously. If you disagree with any of them, feel free to leave a comment down below with your thoughts. And remember that it was just a beta, so it's a test. See how things go, and to get feedback. It's by no means the finished product of a game, so you should take everything not so seriously, as lots of things are liable to change for the full game. Now, I really enjoyed this beta. I thought it was really good fun, and it's so nice to have boots on the ground back. Not necessarily because I dislike the movement from the last 3 games, but after 3 years, it's nice to have a change again. We've had 3 games that have all had advanced movement in them. It's nice to go back to something that's more original and just a bit of a change in a fresh game again. My favourite Call of Duty games have all been boots on the ground. Probably Black Ops 2 is my most favourite, so it's a welcome thing in my books. This linked with the fact that the kill streaks were also fun and pretty good to use, makes it a good Call of Duty game in my opinion. I'm going to start off with one of my favourite things from the beta, and this is the game mode War. And it is such a sick mode to play. It's actually so much fun. When you get a 6v6 team of players that all are fully pushing the objective rather than just kill hunting, it is intense and just so much fun. I actually really enjoyed it. I'm really looking forward to be able to play the mode on different maps with different objectives in the full game. I love that different sections of the game mode encourage different weapon classes. So sometimes it's up and close and you need a shotgun or an SMG. And then next thing you know, you're sniping across the bridge in the section of the map in the middle. I thought that was so much fun. In fact, all of the gameplay that you're seeing in today's video is going to be from the War game mode. The new division system is actually really interesting, and although we didn't get much chance to have a proper play around with them, and we weren't able to get to tier 5 in the divisions, I actually quite like the way they worked, and I think it's something nice in a game. The balance between the 5 is very good, and I like for the most part how they worked. I didn't find that one was too overpowered in comparison to the rest of them. They all had their advantages and their negatives. The pick 10 system is mostly gone within the division, and although I enjoyed how the system worked, it's a welcome change after having this system in the game since Black Ops 2. That's 5 years ago now. Also, I enjoyed the basic training traits that we were able to change in and out. It added a bit of variety to classes that doesn't change the game too much, and it forces you to make sacrifices for some other advantages. For example, do you want to be able to reload faster while sprinting, or swap weapons and throw equipment faster? These are choices that you had to make within the game, and it can make different classes good for different reasons. Something that is a slight concern that I had with the divisions, and I don't know whether I actually like it yet or not, was that the suppressor is only available on submachine guns with their one single division. Now that's quite limited, so you'll never be able to use a silencer on an assault rifle for example, or if you wanted to use an SMG with a different division, the suppressor is not an option. I like to use them on certain classes or game modes on most of the weapons in the game. In Search and Destroy for example, a silencer is often a popular choice. And it'll just be interesting to see how this pans out when you can only put them on certain weapons in the game with a certain division equipped. My second thought, and this will probably be nothing, but the tier 5 unlock for each division was going to be a certain weapon, probably a classic World War II weapon, probably from a previous game we've seen, maybe like a World at War gun that's not in the game that we've seen at the minute. But will this weapon be available for use only with that specific division, or once unlocked will it be available throughout? This is something that we won't have an answer for until the full game releases, but whatever they do, I hope it allows some degree of freedom for these weapons and they're not locked to that one division throughout the whole game. Now we come on to time to kill and the flinch within the game. Now I'm not going to complain about anything to do with connection. At the end of the day, it was a beta and servers often get messed up at the start of new games. More players might be playing than they expect and they get overloaded. So I'm not going to talk about in-game connection. This is something that we'll see when the full game comes out and the servers are stabilised. I thought the time to kill in the game felt pretty good. It felt quite a lot like an older COD, in my opinion quite like Black Ops 2. If anything, it felt a tad slow with some weapons. There were some guns like the PPSH or the Tommy gun, the STG that could destroy someone so quickly. But then other times and other weapons just got hit markers for days. I'm sure this is something that will be balanced for the full release of the game. For me, a good measure of time to kill is how many kills you're able to get feasibly with one magazine on a weapon. And I was struggling to get more than 2 kills with a single mag, sometimes 2 is a bit of a push. This is obviously in most situations a weapon balancing thing, and for the most part each class of weapon matched exactly what they were supposed to do. It is however a very SMG heavy game, as most engagements were short to mid range anyway, which meant that assault rifles and LMGs did struggle. I don't necessarily know the solution for this though, because making all the guns available at all the ranges would mess with the game too much, but it's something that could do with a little bit of thinking about. Maybe it's just that I'm used to playing hardcore on other games and it felt a little bit slow for me and it's just getting used to it, or maybe it was a little bit slow. If you have any opinions on this, leave it in a comment down below. But taking this into consideration, my main issue was that it felt slightly like the first person to aim down sights won the gunfight, which isn't great because people camping on head glitches often killed me very quickly, even before I had time to see them in some situations, or turn around in an attempt to drop them. This is something that could be addressed with flinch, and for those of you that don't know, flinch is the movement of your gun in field of view when you're getting shot at. When shot, your gun mostly flinches upwards. Sometimes this can result in a lucky headshot, but a lot of the time it ends up turning into missed bullets and you dying. For me, the flinch was a little bit high in World War II. Often you were shooting at someone and then you get shot maybe once or twice and your gun would just fly up and you're missing people. This is something, however, that Sledgehammer has already said they're looking to address, and changes will be made to it. So hopefully for the full release of the game we see a slightly reduced flinch. I hope there's not a perk to reduce it because that sort of becomes a staple of the game, but hopefully a reduced flinch should be seen throughout, meaning that you can stay on target a little bit more. I kind of get why the flinch is a little bit higher. When we're not jumping around everywhere, flying through the sky, it makes sense that the weapons are a little bit harder to use because people are on the ground more often rather than flying randomly left to right in your field of view. But it might have been a tad too high, and when you get shot, completely missing people, it isn't much fun. But at the end of the day, this was just a beta. It was a very slight insight into what the full game will actually look like, and honestly it's looking very good. The beauty of the beta for us players is that we get a sneak peek at the game that we're going to be playing in November, and the great thing for the developers is that they get opinions and game data from a very large group of players to see how things are working out, and it makes the game that bit more polished upon release. So I hope you guys have enjoyed today's video of my opinions on the World War II beta. If you have, feel free to drop a like below. Make sure to stay subscribed for new World War II content coming out very soon. As the game develops and we hear more news about it, I'm going to start posting a lot more. Drop a comment down below of your opinions on the beta from yourself. I'd love to hear what you thought about it, and I will see you guys later.